So the thing I want to talk about next is, and teach you next, is if marketing is all about traffic and conversions, we have this spectrum. If we go back one screen of, we want to start with going from leads to marketing qualified leads. That's a spectrum, right? Remember, it's your buyer's awareness. And what I want you to think about is most marketing, you know, you've been taught to do some sort of a tripwire or lead gen, right? Like here's a case study or a PDF or some sort of giveaway that gets people to opt in to hearing your message. Well, I want you to think about this idea of the conversion event. So again, if we use our example company, Betty's, she's doing B2B sales. Let's say her sales process is a 3-month process, multiple phone calls, et cetera, because her prospects, they have to go from the awareness of, hey, I've got a problem I need to solve, to doing my research. I know what I'm trying to solve. Now I'm selecting amongst the different providers, and then I make my final decision. So this idea of the conversion event, that's when they sign the check and they slide the agreement across the table and you win a client. That is the sale, all right? And so if we think about that spectrum, and I like using the golf analogy because marketing is a lot like golf. Marketing is a game of probabilities. There is no magic button. There is no guaranteed result. If anyone tells you that they will guarantee your results with marketing, kind of maybe look at that like a guaranteed stock pick, right? We know how those work. And you certainly wouldn't be going to YouTube to find stock picks. So just a little caveat there, the same thing with YouTube and marketing. You got to be careful. This is a game of probabilities, right? So if I'm golfing and let's say I'm standing up here, oops, let me get black. Let's say I'm standing up here in the tee box and I'm ready to hit off. My goal is to get my ball into the cup, right? In the least number of strokes possible. Well, if I'm way out here, I probably have to hit that ball, 5 or 6 times before it goes into the hole. And, that's pretty far away. That's expensive activity. Versus if my ball is sitting here 6 inches from the cup, the probability of me using a putter and just knocking that sucker in is, darn near 100%. So over here, my probability of a conversion event is much higher, 99, 100%, versus if I'm back here, really if the hole's long enough, your probability of getting the ball in the hole in one swing is 0, right? So think about your marketing the same way. You're marketing to get a prospect. You have the choice of what message and who to go after. Let's go after the person that is already completely aware. They're looking and actively shopping for a solution. Let's not go and create marketing that's way out over here to this person that's just teeing off in the tee box, right? So this is the idea of conversion event marketing. We want to get as close to that sale as possible and then work backwards from that in our marketing. Now, entrepreneurs kind of struggle with this idea because that pool of people is very small. It's not this giant, enormous pool of buyers that you have out here far away. And so you struggle with that because every entrepreneur I've ever talked to has always said, well, everyone's a customer, right? And yeah, while that may be true, I'm sure your business is brilliant and everyone can use your services. What we need to do today is figure out how to get a client tomorrow. And so the easiest way to do that is identify what is a buyer who is ready to write you a check today. What do they need to hear from you? What is the messaging? What is the offer? What is the USP that's going to help them make that decision so that your closing process isn't 3 months, it's a week or even 1 day, right? If you get the right message in front of the right person at the right time and place, which by the way, we call the master marketing equation, if you can do that, chances are someone's going to write you a check pretty darn fast. Make sense? So let's move on. Now, you're sitting here thinking to yourself, okay, I get everything today. We know we need, the big number we need is 57 MQLs a month. So how do I do that? How do I make decisions about should we be doing SEO? Should we be doing social media? Should we be doing event marketing? direct marketing, Google, cost per click, blah, 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 blah. How do you make all these decisions? We need to come up with something that is an apples to apples comparison. You cannot compare, say, an SEO strategy to a direct ad campaign if you don't have some sort of normalized or universal apple to apple. Make sense? So here's how we do this. Let me show you how all this adds up now, because now is where the rubber meets the road. So let's say Betty, here our sample CEO, currently is running 3 strategies. She's currently paying $3,500 a month to a company to help her build out her SEO strategy. We all do that. Everyone thinks they need SEO. She's also paying a media buyer to drive traffic with Facebook ads, okay? And then finally, Betty, because she's in the B2B business, she goes to trade shows. And let's say her average trade show costs her $12,000 between the travel, getting her employees there, the time the employees are doing the trade show versus selling, whatever. There's a fixed cost to the event. So now, how do we compare all 3 of these and get that apple to apple comparison? Well, this is where we go back to, remember I said, all of marketing is just traffic or conversions, right? So we have to look at SEO. Now, SEO, how do we define the traffic for SEO? You have to think this through, and if you don't know this, I'm going to teach you. So basically, it's an idea of SEO is driven by keywords. People go to Google, they type in a keyword, Google shows the results. Those are called SERPs, search engine result pages. And the SERPs, if you're one of the top 3, I want you to think about your own behavior. You never scroll below those top 3, so you must rank in the top 3. If you show up there, chances are I'm going to click through and go to your website, right? So the traffic portion of this is controlled by your keywords, and the keywords have a specific search volume every month that they can generate, right? So let's take, for example, we have a keyword set that generates 1,000 searches per month. Well, then you got to think to yourself, what is the potential clicks from those 1,000 searches? And if you can Google this, I'll put this in a resource, but basically statistics show, Google will tell you this, that if you're in that top ranked search result, I think that's about 40% click-through rate. If you're second place, I think it's about 28%, and third place is in the teens. So even if you're even in the top 3, you're still only looking at roughly around 40% of those 1,000 searches are potential clicks, right? So that's maybe 400 clicks you can drive from this search pool. Now, you also have to think about the competitive analysis. What are your probabilities of ranking in those top 3? If you search for your keyword and you see those top 3 results are, say, Wikipedia, WebMD, or Microsoft, I guarantee you are not going to break into that and supersede those 3 results. So it's a game, again, of probabilities. What's your chance? What's the potential of you capturing the top search results for those keywords? So you have to think of that as well. And that, the competitive analysis is totally dependent on the keyword, so I can't really figure that out. But it's going to dilute those clicks even more. So now we've gone from 400 clicks, let's say, down to 300 clicks. And remember, when someone clicks on your link from the Google, they go to your web page. Now we have yet another filter that says, okay, what is your web page converting at? And I would say for most blogs, I think the average is anywhere between 3 and 5%, right? So of those 300 people that click over to your website this month from all your SEO activities, you're going to get 9 people to opt in, or 9 MQLs. Now here's what you need to ask yourself. Yes, we need to figure out what's the value of those MQLs. Are they ready to buy? Where are they on that spectrum of buying? Are they just starting their shopping? or are they really in dire need and they need a solution today? And that's probably going to be dictated by the content on your page. If it's very generic content, if it's very top of the funnel where they're just starting their process, now you know that you're gonna, that's more of a lead than a marketing qualified lead, and converse. But anyway, this is the idea. This is the number. We got 9 MQLs this month based on these numbers. And keep in mind, Betty's paying this company $3,500 a month, right? $3,500 a month divided by 9 leads a month. So that's, if you do that math, that is $388 per MQL. Now let's look at direct ads. So Betty has a media buyer. She's running a direct ad. The traffic portion of this is the ad and the audience. And let's say we get 1.5% click-through rate on the ad. And again, this goes to a landing page where you have a message and people opt in. Let's say it's a lead gen or a tripwire or something like that. Promised I wouldn't use any jargon. Let's see, there's a reason for them to opt in. And let's say the industry standard that we looked for is 20% opt-in rate. So now we can come and generate and say, all right, look, if we send that same 300 clicks from the ad at 1.5%, we have a 20% opt-in rate. That is going to be now 60 leads per month. And we'll call those MQLs and just assume they're high quality leads, because we're directing the traffic with the advertising, and the messaging in the advertising is going to determine the quality of the lead. So we're just going to assume you're an awesome ad writer and you can generate high quality leads from your advertising. Well, let's say to generate the 300 clicks at 1.5% click-through rate, let's just give that an average number of $1,000. I think that's probably really high. But just for the sake of this example, $1,000 in ad spend, and we got 60 MQLs from it. That means now we have a per lead cost of $16. Per MQL. Already your light bulbs should be going off and going, boy, there's a big difference between 388 and 16. But now we're comparing MQLs to MQLs, apples to apples. Interesting. Let's continue. So let's look at this event marketing. Betty spent 12 grand at this event. So let's say she came home with 10 MQLs from the event, 10 business cards. She had 10 conversations that she now can come back and follow up on and see if they're qualified for a sales call. But she got 10 MQLs. So now again, we can do the math and say, okay, look, you spent $12,000 during the event. You got 10 leads, 10 MQLs. So that means you have a cost of $120 per MQL. Now we have the ability to, given all things equal, let's just assume that these are all marketing qualified leads of high caliber. Now we can start making some decisions and going, wait a minute, our leads down here are costing us $120, whereas our Facebook advertising, they're $16, versus our SEO efforts, God, they're almost $400. And now you as the leader can start saying, how much time, money, and opportunity goes into each marketing channel to produce this MQL, and what's my cost? And now you have a foundation to say, you know what, maybe SEO isn't the best way to do this. These are super expensive leads. Let's go and just do more direct advertising, or let's go and do more events. That's also a reasonable cost. Or if you're evaluating different marketing strategies, reverse engineer the math. Let's say you're doing postcards. Take the total cost of the mailing and divide it by your potential traffic, and then that gives you a marketing qualified lead that you can compare. Maybe it's $50 a lead, but you need to be able to have this MQL number in order to make these decisions amongst the different marketing channels that you use. Make sense? So let's take our winner here, or our apparent winner, this Facebook direct ads. So you say, okay, great. I know this is where I'm getting high quality leads at $16.